So today we have Professor WenZhan Song on the podcast. He is a Georgia Power Mickey A. Brown professor in computer engineering and founding director of the Center for Cyber Physical Systems, CCPS, at the University of Georgia. Additionally, he directs the Sensor Web Research Laboratory, and his scientific advancements have received the highest university awards faculty research can be awarded at several universities, including most recently at the University of Georgia. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, David. Nice to talk with you.
So today we'll primarily be focusing on your company, Intelligent Dots. So to start off, can you give us a brief overview of what Intelligent Dots is and how long you've been working on this project?
Okay, sure. Yeah, Intelligent Dots is a technology spin-off based on the licensed IP from University of Georgia. So based on the research my lab did in the past several years. So we basically developed the flagship product called Beta Dot. It's a device can be one time installed under a bed frame or mattress that will silently detect whether there's a person on bed. Once a person is on bed, it will automatically monitor the heart rate, respiration rate, blood pressure, the different vital signs, and sleep activity.
Awesome. How long have you been working on Intelligent Dots and its associated technologies?
Yeah, so the company was registered in 2019. Then we received the SBIR. We received some angel investment. Then over the past several years, we were also funded by Georgia Research Alliance. So recently we also received the FDA clearance.
Awesome. So for the audience, SBIR stands for Small Business Innovation Research. It is a competitive award-based U.S. federal government program that provides funding in the form of grants or contracts to small businesses to engage in research and development with strong potential for commercialization. So,
yes.
Moving into the next question, tell me more about your partnership and relationship with the UGA, the Sensor Web Research Laboratory, and the UGA Augusta University Medical Partnership, and now UGA Medical School, in regards to Intelligent Dots.
Oh, yeah. So, first the technology was developed. R&D was done at a UGA. So UGA owned all the intellectual property. The company basically got an exclusive license from the university, but IP belonged to the university. Well, so we are very honored that we are collaborating with many researchers in UGA, Emory University, also now with the University of Washington and Stanford University on various topics, also Augusta University. For example, we have one active NIH-R1 project is using basically Beta Dot to study the sleep apnea detection and characterization. Yeah, so we are currently also talking to CHUA, Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, to explore the application of the baby monitoring.
That sounds very interesting. So looks like the support that you got from UGA and being a computer engineering professor here, that was really integral to the creation of Intelligent Dots, and it gave you not just support, connections, but also some of the financial means and like the platform to then reach out to other people at other colleges to work on this project.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. It's a multidisciplinary collaboration. So we, like the team, we have people from, computer engineering, electrical engineering, computer science, statistics. Also my collaborator Brad Phillips is from, the pharmacy, clinical trial, CDRU. And we in that particular project we also work with a private sleep clinic in Athens. They will help us tremendously. Dr. Deepak Das was helping us on the data connection validation from sleep labs.
So, tell me more about how your work looks like working with collaborators from these other universities and the private players as well.
Peter, about the experience, yeah. First of all, naturally, the external collaborator is from medical schools. Because usually just have a new medical school. We, before, they just formed in the past 1 year. So we were mainly working with the medical school from, outside, like Emory, University of Washington. So the people are excited about the new technology, so we need to, give this a try. So, for example, our collaborator in Chua, they see, for the baby especially, that the wearable thing even may not be an option sometime, because the skin irritation problem. Also, baby, not easy to keep something wearable and because they may not follow your instructions. So makes things non-contact is a tremendous help. So our medical collaborators see this needs. We need to help. I really appreciate them.
What did your collaboration with the former UJ and Augusta University Medical Partnership and then now UJ Med School look like?
Well, so with them right now we don't have founded a project, but we have been collaborating with with them on a few papers on sleep apnea. Like Dr. William Heaney is the sleep expert. So, sleep apnea is his key interest. So we kind of work together on, have joint scholarship works.
Very interesting. And then now I'm going to give a brief overview of what BedDot is. So this product mounts to a better chair, continuously measures vital signs such as heart rate, respiration rate, and systolic and diastolic blood pressure, as well as occupancy and movement, such as activity and restlessness, with nothing to wear, charge, or remember, being the first device on the market to do so. So systolic blood pressure is the top number on the reading. It measures the force and or pressure your blood exerts against your artery walls while the heart beats and pumps blood, while diastolic is the bottom number on a reading. It measures the force and or pressure your blood exerts against your artery walls between beats, which is while the heart rests and refills. So, till date, the research and development funding has reached $1.7 million. So, how are you able to raise this much money? And we know the company was created in 2019, right? So, what did that journey look like? Is it easier now that you've been in the game for a few years to get more funding. Was it hard initially?
Oh yeah. It's always not easy to get a funding because it's very competitive. So we are very grateful that we received the funding, as I mentioned, from National Science Foundation, NIH, GRA, Georgia Research Alliance. That's basically both federal and the state government. Yeah. So we I think the key is one key is innovation. Certainly, another key is that there is a clinical gap needs for this kind of device. To put this in a bigger context, so this kind of device actually representing the incoming and future needs as the whole health care of the country is moving more toward the preventative care. So preventative care basically ideally you want to prevent the patients from going to the hospital. But to do that, what it means you got to have certain ways to monitor and maybe intervene to before things become too bad. They have to be hospitalized, right? So if you think of that way, you don't have many choices. Either you do the wearable or do the nearable. So we basically the beta data belong to the nearable, non-wearable basically. So wearable, does work for some people, right? The advantage that you can wear during daytime and even if you're okay. But for certain population, they cannot do it in the evening. And like, the elders, they may forgot to charge battery, or for me, it's like I cannot wear it during my sleep. Because this LED will show the nights, or I just cannot wear stuff during sleep. Also babies, they cannot wear, they don't feel comfortable. So those nearby basically provide an alternative that you don't need any engagement. Patient pretty much just go normal sleep, don't even need to feel anything. The device just silently, passively listening to your heart, to your lung, to your sleep. Yeah. So this actually will make a lot of the data more easy to the monitoring more kind of engagement free. Yeah. And I should have mentioned that another one bigger thing, the biggest one thing with the beta dot, a key differentiator with our existing wearable or nearable is that this one we could do a function like the blood pressure and even the cardiac output or stroke volume related, basic hemodynamics in general. In fact, this kind of principle has been clinically validated 80 years ago. But just at that time, the instrument was too complex, so it was later faded out from hospital system because they're using laser system. So we essentially right now is try to replicate that principle, but with much lower cost, sensor design and AI, to bring this one kind of be a no cost instrument and still be able to do like cardiac output, blood pressure related. So there's a solid science principle there, actually with a long history. Yeah. And our device could do it because it has many unique features. That's why we could do it.
Does this technology build on the spatiotemporal sensor webs engineering you worked on at the Sensor Web Research Lab?
Yeah, I mean the key technology basically is about how do you deal with that complex signal and extract meaningful information with the correlation with those key vital signs, heart rate, respiration, blood pressure, or stroke volume. They're basically you need to find out what are the key features and you remove the noises. So it's a complex signal processing AI problem.
Talk more about how you utilized AI for this project.
Oh, sure, yeah. Well, so we so far already have done the clinical study over 300 human subjects. So honestly, for the AI, so everyone today talk about AI, but many people mostly just using AI, like using ChatGPT or using Codex. But we are basically is to design that algorithm, work behind the metadata to deal with that one-dimensional signals. So there are different challenges from natural language or video audio, because usually this type of data compared to those language data, it's very small. We call it small data problem. So basically, many of those existing methods will not work on the signal. We actually have to kind of very creatively figure out a way to combine advanced signal processing, combine the knowledge, the physical knowledge, and the AI together to achieve that robust, accurate estimation.
Very interesting. So now that we're bringing up AI, you are on the editorial board for Sustainable Computing, Information, and Systems since 2022, which is a research area of sustainable computing that spans the field of computer science and engineering, electrical engineering, and other engineering disciplines. So, how does the growth of artificial intelligence's capabilities and usage work in the conversation of seeking a more sustainable computing future? What about in use cases of healthcare specifically?
Okay, good question. Yeah, I want to clarify that I did serve, like 8 to 9 journals board and a conference. So for the beta data related, there's the main society called ubiquitous computing or pervasive computing. So I served there like a general chair for pervasive computing before. Also now I'm on the editor board of the IMWT, basically it's UBCOM. So this area is basically mainly dealing with the human activity health related monitoring characterization. So that's including wearables, including those nearboards. So in this community, there's huge opportunity. You know why? Because in healthcare, the data is so difficult to get because there are many regulatory, IRB. So also the data typically not shared, not openly shared. Unlike internet, everyone can browse got the data. So the bigger challenge is that, for example, we designed this device, we pretty much needed to connect the data ourselves. Nobody else, because it's a new device, not some open data, we can get it. So to design a good AI on that, but AI actually needed the data for training. The data essentially is AI's food. But in biomedical domain in general, the data are always often isolated and very difficult to get. So in this area, I think it's a huge opportunity, for young people or next generation to get into to solve this problem. I don't know whether you get what I'm talking about, because in internet there are huge amount of natural language text data, video, audio, but this kind of the sensor data, biomedical especially, it's not available on internet. That means it's difficult to get this kind of data to accelerate the innovation. Yeah, by the way, this is related to I have 3 research thrusts in my lab. The second one is called the decentralized data infrastructure. It's related to that. I see that's a pain point to slow down the innovation of ubiquitous pervasive computing or biomedical kind of, because So I will try to develop that to help others easier to get in the data to accelerate the innovation.
That touches on a really important issue. So, a few months ago, I actually read A Giant Leap that by Dr. Washer. It's about AI in healthcare, the history of it, his predictions for where it's moving forward. I believe he's a leader at the Mayo Clinic. But, I mean, that's something that the book touched on pretty well. There's a lot of gatekeeping of data and of patient data, and then that also presents an issue when you're trying to develop either technologies that can directly be embedded in an electronic health record system or add-ons for them, because it's either difficult to find data to train AI on, or it can be very costly, like millions of dollars.
Yes, you get that. Yeah. A lot of bio engineering stuff, they like drug development, it costs a lot of time and money to do those clinical phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Yeah, it does a lot of like we belong to medical device, but still very that does cost a lot of time and money to do it.
Absolutely. So next, how can more sustainable computing be implemented and impacted by healthcare settings and or organizations?
Good question. So for clarify, the sustainable computing is another thing that usually refer to, for example, talk about like for example, like battery-less computing. Basically, the device they don't need to use battery, keep it sustainable, or it's about using computing to solve the environment natural sustainability problem. It's different from, I wouldn't say big data belong to that. It's not a part of the sustainable computing there.
Gotcha. And then a final question about your work in research journals would be that you are on the editorial board of the Journal of Ambient Intelligence and Smart Environments since 2009. So how does artificial intelligence in healthcare overlap with the latest research within developments on ambient intelligence and smart environments?
Okay, good question. Yeah, so as you can tell from those names, it's basically means embedded intelligence. Basically means you embedded the artificial intelligence of things. Basically making like sensors or controllers. For example, like home, you have motion sensor, you have all kind of sensor, temperature, humidity. They will make some automatic decisions on turning on AC, turn lower down temperature, or So embedded intelligence, it's all about like making the kind of your at the home or office environment more intelligent. As you know today, there's some places you could pretty much like some hotel, you can be there, or some smart home. You can just talk it, like say, hey Alexa, open the curtain, they will open it. So things like that. So that's our AI behind it to automatically detect. They make some adjustment or decisions if the human authorize that.
Awesome. So within that conversation, your company Intelligent Dots would be in the center. So what is your vision for your product? So like Bed Dot, Pet Dot, which is still being developed, right? And then what the third one is? It baby dot?
Yeah, so in terms of vertical population, I actually have this table I'm going to show you maybe. So we, the intellectual varies in application, the depth and width, you can view it in this slide in this way. X-axis, the vertical population, kind of like a baby, or a pregnant woman, a dart, or animal, right? So, and in terms of what parameter to monitor, we basically monitor four things. One is heart related, another second is non-related, respiration, related. Third one is sleep related. The fourth one is like activity related. For example, on off bed, occupant, not occupant, the safety events, right? So yeah, we have if you imagine like the cross of those x and y axis, there will be 16 times different applications. And further down, like we can further refine, like with heart, we can monitor heart rate, stroke volume, or HRV, heart rate variability, or monitor diseases. There are many diseases like AtriFib, heart failure. Yeah, so a lot of exciting stuff to we can work on. Yeah.
Very interesting. So, AFib that was mentioned on the media piece that refers to atrial fibrillation. That's a type of irregular and often abnormally rapid heart rhythm, which is arrhythmia.
Yes.
Okay. So, moving into the next questions. A part of working closely with the University of Georgia in developing Intelligent Dots products is the fact that they own the intellectual property of the technology, correct?
UGA owned the
Yes.
IP, yes.
And they were able to take off your hands the work of filing a patent as well. So those were things you didn't have to worry about. So how did UJ file the patent for you? Is there like someone that works there that works for, I guess, like all the labs that files patents on their behalf, or how does it work?
Oh, how it works? Okay. At UGA, basically for faculty or staff, if you wanted to file a patent, the first step you do an invention disclosure at a UGA's portal. Then the innovation gateway staff will review your disclosure and decide whether they will proceed with the patent or not. Okay, so usually if they go with patent, typically they will go a provisional patent first, then they file a formal patent application. Yeah, then it's going to be UJ currently, I know, is working with a law firm in Atlanta to do the patent filing. Yeah.
So it's a team that reviews it.
Review what?
If the invention disclosure.
Yes. There are innovation gateway staff. They review the patent.
Oh, innovation
gateway.
Gateway.
Yes.
Okay.
That's basically UGA Technology Transfer Office name.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So, would things that students create, because I know we also have the entrepreneurship program, if students were to create products or bring innovations to the market, would they also be able to use the help of the innovation gateway?
Yeah, sure
Okay.
thing. Yes, yeah.
Awesome. It's a great resource to have. So the only approved patent right now is a cameraless monitoring system that includes a network of sensitive sensor units that are installed onto indoor flooring to record human footstep-induced vibrations. The data collected from these can be processed to identify individual occupants and how many there are, estimate the location of footsteps, and track the trajectory of each occupant. The extracted trajectory information can be used to assess an occupant's personal activity and social interaction, which can then be used to analyze the individual's physical and psychological health. So, taking that exact wording from the patent into play, the technologies that Intelligent Dots as a company is putting forward, you mentioned that this could be a part of preventative medicine. I'm not sure if that portion was recorded. So is this something that the general population can also use this device? As a ton of people that don't need wearables, they use those, and those would be more inconveniencing or like annoying to have to make use and use regularly versus a product like BedDot.
Can you rephrase your question?
Yes.
The last sentence, can you repeat it?
Yes. So the Intelligent Dots products such as BedDot, those are things that you think the general population can also utilize, like they do wearables, which are more inconveniencing, and more noticeable in their lives in a lot of ways. So Intelligent Dots products, it's not just for people that, they need to have these vital signs recorded or, right? This isn't for people that are just sick.
No, it does, well, certainly not every population we need to adopt, right? But I would say different age group have different needs. So, for example, in senior care facilities, they have needs that they needed to kind of check their residents' safety over the night. Kind of once 1 or 2 hours or more, they needed to check whether the resident is doing well on their bed. With this sensor, you will be able to see, without going to their room, disturb them. You can know whether they are on bed or not. So this will save some staff's burden on managing the senior care facility, right? Yeah. In addition, this sensor would potentially, like, maybe detect abnormal vital signs or sleep pattern. If this keep it for a while, it's probably the time. For example, we can do sleep apnea or see whether this person actually have sleep apnea. If this maybe he deserves a good SAPA machine to treat the sleep apnea.
What's that kind of machine called again?
I think it's called a CPAP machine.
Oh, CPAP.
Okay. CPAP is something where on the mouth and nose for help on the breath.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a continuous positive airway pressure machine.
Yeah.
That is primarily used for obstructive sleep apnea.
Correct.
Gotcha. So specifically for BabyDot, I think a lot of parents, and this was touched on by y'all's marketing videos, a lot of parents are worried about their kids. Baby monitoring devices are becoming really common and an integral part of modern life. So for that, what characteristics of BabyDot, like in terms of what it can monitor, do you think would be the most useful for parents? I feel like sleep is pretty up there, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so we kind of work with kind of several children health club and the doctors. So they see different needs. For example, our NIU collaborator, Dr. Puneet Sharma, they gives pregnant interested with its application in the NICU. So today they have to use some patch or wearable on the baby to monitor the vital signs. And now we have this device that without touching the body of the baby would be ideal for them, right? Or the cardiologist, pediatric cardiologist, they might be interested with arrhythmia. Some kids maybe the heartbeat is too fast or too slow. So those may or need some sort of attention as early as possible.
Yeah. I actually took a pediatric pain course last semester.
Mm-hmm.
So I was very interested to see that Baby Dot was one of the products you guys use, because there is a lot of need for this. I also took parenting and child guidance. Both of these are under human development and family science, that college or department, but parents are very worried. And then pediatric pain, that course, it was run by a former child life specialist. Okay. So it was all about like how to talk to parents, if kids are in pain, or a lot of times they're having to get procedures done that they don't want a part of. Just the hospital environment is very scary for kids. So I feel like, Baby Doll versus a wearable, especially like for the infants, because we did learn quite a bit about just how infants' minds work, how they process pain, until, well, in the grand scheme of things, until very recently, it was believed that infants didn't feel pain as well. Mm-hmm. So there was no effort by medical professionals to use anesthesia on them prior to procedures as well. So, and we did touch on this before, that babies could feel skin irritation by wearables. So, having a device like this that you can just attach under the crib or bed, that makes it a lot easier. So tell me more about how that works without a device like physically being on you. How is it able to get all of those kinds of signs?
Sure. Well, so the basic principle behind it is because or our heart or non-mechanical movement, they were generating a tiny vibration. So the tiny vibration, in fact, if you ever tried, you use your ears, like touching here or touching the pillow, you could hear your heartbeat. Do you have this experience? So essentially, our sensor is just behind the mattress, able to hear that. So then we were able to derive those parameters. That's the basic principle of it.
And this would work for even if like it's a pretty thick bed or mattress, it's still going to be able to penetrate. Because like my mattress, let's say that's like a foot in width, and then a few inches is the bed frame.
Right.
It's still going to work just as well.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So later I can show you. Maybe you will see a demo under sofa. You sit on sofa. I have sensor installed under it. You will see your vital sign there.
Yeah. Okay. That's very cool. It's seismic sensing, correct?
Yeah.
So that is a tri-axis seismometer under the mattress or in a chair seat that is able to sense microscopic vibrations the body transmits into every surface it touches. So when I was doing some research about BedDot, it came up that AI was trained on hundreds of clinical subjects to separate those signals into continuous readings with no compliance burden. So tell me more about what that means.
Okay, so when I say compliance burden, it refers to, for example, if you do wearable, the compliance burden means, for example, if you're a doctor, you participate in remote patient monitoring program of CMS. But CMS have a requirement is that this patient must do at least, previously was before this January was have to do 16 times minimum measurement to get reimbursed. So in other words, if the patient did not do 16 times measurement, like using blood pressure cuff, the doctor will not get paid. So essentially the RPM, remote patient monitoring, failed in that case. So to enable that compliance not easy, because some elder people, they either don't know technology, maybe their Bluetooth not even open, or even they run out of battery. They don't know. So those small things, in fact, are going to adding the bigger compliance challenge. But our device is a one-time installation, like under the patient bed. You just need to install once, then the device just run automatically without the patient do anything. The patient certainly every day go to sleep on the bed. Then the device, this bed doctor will automatically do the job periodically.
So how is that able to work where it doesn't need to get charged?
Do you mean whether the patient needed to get charged for this?
How is it able to be to where your products, they don't need to be charged? Like, how are they able to stay on? And then is there an app in which you can look at all the data it's collected?
So, first, this device installed bed, they basically plug into the USB power. In addition, it has a backup battery. The backup battery will kick on if the power is lost for 8 hours. Okay, hopefully that in that situation, with 8 hours, people know the device is running out of, it's going to run out of battery. They needed to do a maintenance. But usually, as you know, in the United States, you rarely have any power outage more than that, 8 hours. Very rare.
This is true.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also saw that more than 100 BedDoc devices have been built and deployed. So can you talk a little bit about the process of first building the product, the trial and errors you ran into, and then finding the manufacturer you now work with?
Yeah. So yes, we did go through a lot of challenges. So because this beta data involving many things, right? In the bottom you have the PCB board, and you have the enclosure. So that's basically electrical engineering, mechanical engineering. In addition, deal with the embedded firmware design. And then on the cloud end, deal with the cloud end backend setup. In addition, there's user interface, like a mobile app or some sort of web GUI. But each of that, the different things does need a different expertise to achieve it. So then if you go through FDA, that's a huge job. So the submission would be 1,280 pages. That's what we did. Yeah. So it's a huge task. Also, data connection not easy. Data connection actually we found it probably one of the most hardest thing for the whole process.
So talk to me more about assembling that 1,200 page document to be able to get your devices FDA approved. I would have never thought it would have been that long of an application.
Right. Well, so yeah, so that we did have. By the way, that was founded by GRA, Georgia Research Alliance. We are so grateful to them have founded this. So that's basically our work with the FDA consultant. They provided the guidance, what to prepare, what to follow, which we prepare accordingly. Yeah.
What was this organization called again? The Georgia
Research Alliance, GRA.
Gotcha. So tell me more about the process. Earlier you mentioned it was hard to get data for this in order to apply for FDA clearance, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And it says on intelligentdots.com that over 300 subjects were clinically validated. So tell me more about this.
About that? Okay, yeah. We did a multiple data connection. So for example, some was done in UGA, clinical trial, CTRU and research unit. Some was done in a hospital. So added together, there are over 300 subjects. We also did some small case with animal baby to basically evaluate this technology.
Awesome. And then by CTR, you meant complete tumor response or complete treatment response, right?
No, CTRU, the full name is Clinical and Translational Research Unit. If you search UGA CTRU, you'll find
okay.
that. Yeah.
What was it? It was clinical research.
Yeah. Clinical and translational.
Translational research
unit.
And then finally,
by the way, this is also basically part of the medical partnership you will ask about.
Yes,
okay.
The UJ Augusta Medical Partnership. Okay. So the final question I had was actually unrelated to Intelligent Dots, but played into the fact that I've taken some education courses at UGA. I'm currently a substitute teacher, and on this podcast, we don't always stick to the curriculum. We also talk a bit about education, or we have a focus on sustainability, leadership as well. So, you went to Nanjing University of Science and Technology for your bachelor's and master's in science in computer science, and now you're a professor at UGA. So talk to me about your experience in the Chinese education system. It's very competitive. I took education around the world, and one day we had a Chinese PhD student that came in and talked a bit about that, and including the Zongkao and Gaokao as well.
Right. Yeah. So those entrance exams very competitive. Basically, I don't know the ratio, but you need to get into we call it in US called a Tier 1 university. The Tier 1 university in China, they call it 985 or 211. It's basically very challenging. I don't want to make up a number because it's just you can imagine probably the whole high score maybe only got a few getting into those so-called Tier 1 universities. Depends on the high score, as you know. So you're right. Yeah, the education system there is very competitive. Where I think the U.S. also very competitive. So maybe the difference is that here those entrance exam, I mean, everything has cons and pros. So the entrance exam basically, even you're not doing so well, the normal time, but you're doing well in the final entrance exam, you fly. But in U.S. system, like every course counts, every homework counts to your final scores. And here, encouraging more extracurricular activity, sports, and different science competition, that sort of things. So you have a chance to develop your own interest and leadership.
Yeah, the concept of the Zong count, like 50% of students, like the high scores, they're placed in the academic track, which is, I'm like butchering all these names, the Gaozong, and then the other half are diverted to the vocational or technical track, the Zongzi. So that whole idea, I mean, here it's like the antithesis of like, the American like freedom and independence. Like, what do you mean? Like, you don't do well early on in your education, like now you're just on this track and you can't pursue advanced high school education.
Well, actually today I think you do. You can later still apply to graduate school. Because here similarly, if you don't get it to say tier 1 university, you do get it to community college. Similar.
Oh.
Yeah, like in the United States, right? You got a community college or technical college. It's similar to that.
So the vocational track, they would be, you would have to take vocational kind of classes in high school, but then afterwards you could still try, if you could still pursue other education.
Just pass more tests and get into.
It would set you back a bit, but so how has that been? Did you grow up in China?
Yes, I do.
So growing up in the educational system, now you're a professor at UGA, and just seeing how different university life is, the culture, how students and professors interact as well. Do you think the interactions, it feels like it's more of like a equal standing versus in China? Like, do students more freely like talk and like you can joke around more?
Sure.
Here? Yeah.
Well, there, to be honest, for students, like the freedom is similar. It's I wouldn't think there is too much difference. In fact, today's China education system advanced very fast. They have modern infrastructure. Even to be honest, some places more modern than here. The government invests a lot on the education system into the labs and classrooms over there.
Didn't they recently pass a law like Chinese students, was it like middle and high school, there's a certain amount of hours every month they have to learn about AI?
I don't know.
I'll check it.
Okay, yeah. I didn't follow that.
I thought it was very interesting. Yes, it's out. The Chinese Ministry of Education directives require schools to deliver at least 8 class hours of AI education per year.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So less than an hour per month. That's very interesting. And then the final question we also have a focus on leadership on this podcast. So you've dealt with teams, people throughout your career, individuals, the projects themselves, the timelines, which can also sometimes add pressure. So what are some strategies you have as a leader?
Well, here's my understanding of the leader. So we so-called servant leadership. So leader does not mean authority. It's more about are you willing to, sometimes it's about sacrifice yourself to, seeking for the whole team's benefits or goals to achieve the goal. Sometimes it doesn't mean you need to sacrifice yourself. Many years ago, one of my mentor was telling me that, be a good leader, you have to be honest. Are you able to be selfishness? So I think this is the number one thing you have to think clearly, because the people around you, they will see that. Are you working for the whole team? Team is good, or you just work for yourself?
Would you say this is a strategy that's more so like leading from the front or from the back? Like, we've had other leaders on the podcast. Someone said, they're just in the back, they're supporting everyone else, but they're not like this kind of like authority in the front, like, you do this, da, da, da. And then the judge that was on the podcast, he was like, I kind of lead from the front, Throughout COVID, when he was running this courthouse, people were looking to him to see, like, yes, you're a new magistrate judge, but like, what do we do? And, kind of displaying that confidence and collected manner.
Yeah, it's not just about stay behind. Sometimes it's also about set examples. You want to be the one to lead, or that means you do the job also. Not just allocate, but sometimes you do need to allocate a job, because for a team you need a certain leader to decide what needs to be done, what's a priority, who do what, based on his or her personality or skill set. So that doesn't need to be done by leader as well. Yeah.
Gotcha. So is there any particular example you can know where you and your team were really going through it, pretty stressed out, and how you were able to deal with that situation? Has it ever occurred in your career? It can also be from your work, like on editorial journals, etc.
Yeah. So there are, for us, we does like across several different things, right? With, on one hand, I work with my students, right? I basically as a mentor in that case. I also work with my colleagues, so we are colleague, in a relationship. Then editor board is another different thing. That's totally non-profit. Everyone basically is volunteering. You know what I mean? Volunteering sometimes is harder to, people is busy, right, with their normal job. That volunteer thing is extra thing. So not easy. They are different. With companies, another different thing. It's so those four scenario all have different dynamics. But the one thing for common is that it basically the biggest job for a leader is you first need to think source as a sort of leader. What's the priority, what to do, who is good on what. Then also it's about you sometimes need to set an example, sometimes you need to sometimes sacrifice yourself for the team's benefit.
So by sacrifice yourself, what do you mean?
Well, so this could potentially mean, for example, like for let me put it in this way. Basically, what you get often compared to what you give out is small. It's not proportional. So, for example, where it's not easy to give you an example, but you will know as a founder, a company founder, honestly, you need to probably do 100 times more work than others. You don't necessarily got 100 times more rewards. So, especially during startup stage, you may end up get get nothing, right? But you enjoy this. Believe your vision, enjoy this process, and try to make an impact.
That's a awesome way to think about it. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Definitely got to learn a lot, and I'm sure the listeners did as well.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Appreciate it.